when they love the club that they're at, they might just feel that, look, they've come through Marseille. I believe he came through the youth system. I think he's been there the whole time, I think. But I definitely know he's a Marseille fan. And he might just think, you know what, if the right wages come in and the right offer comes in, I'll take it because I get what I need and so does Marseille, instead of me going for nothing in the summer. He might have that sort of mentality. So Kamara leaving Marseille in the next few days would not surprise me. But at this moment in time, it would surprise me if it was Manchester United. That doesn't mean it won't be Manchester United, but from what we're hearing and what I've been told, we're working flat out on moving players out. And look, United need to be sponsored by Manscaped because they're rubbish at trimming anything and to make it look better. And the way they're trimming this squad is lethargic and slow. They're having a tea break after everybody, every chat. Lingard should have been gone today. Donny should be gone, by tomorrow. And yet neither of those two players are going. Eric Bay's now out of the AFCON with Ivory Coast, so he's going to be coming back looking to get a move over the next few days as well. So United are going to swamp themselves with removing players and leave no time to bring players in, even if they wanted to. So yes, watch what's going on with Kamara. I would say that, but it may not be Manchester United. I think he might go in the next few days because ultimately all Kamara will want is the wages that he feels he's deserved. And I tried to explain this to somebody last night. They were like, there was a story came out last night that Kamara wants 150 grand a week, right? And people were going, well, he's not worth that, avoid it. And I was like, do people actually understand how transfers work? These 100 grand a week player, 80, 90, 100 grand a week. That's probably what he's worth, okay? But he's also worth about 20 to 30 million pounds. You're going to get him for less than 10. So why shouldn't he ask for an extra 50 grand a week? 50 grand a week is 200 grand a month extra, which works out at what? Just over 2 million pounds a year. Over 3 years, that's only 6 million. If you're getting him for 10 and you're paying him an extra 6 million in wages, it's still 16 million instead of having to pay him 100 grand a week and pay Marseille 20 to 25 million. So you're still quids in. I think people get really agitated by wages, but just because Harry Maguire's on 200 grand a week, or Juan Mata's on 100 grand a week, or Jadon Sancho's on 300 grand a week, it's all relative. When you give Harry Maguire 200 grand a week and you're paying 80 million pounds to Leicester and agent fees, that's a lot of money. But when you're giving a player 150 grand a week, but you're getting them really cheap because they're on the edge of their contract, it's all relative. It all adds up in a different way. You can't compare one deal to the other. Who's the mysterious CDM we're waiting for in the summer? I doubt we'll pay 100 million for Rice. Getting a 6 for our Champions League is crucial, says Hamza. I think Declan Rice is probably the player that we're looking at. But I think Lingard's on about 80 grand a week. So whatever that works out to be a year, you do the maths. So yeah, look, a lot of people talking about Kamara. There's a few rumours floating around. I feel that this is probably driven by the agent and the club, so I'm not too confident about that at the moment. And I do feel that United are looking to remove players. How do we get the Glazers out as fans, says Aidan McKeown. Well, look, we'll talk about that, but I just want to say that, it says Rangnick's transfer setback. I think it says let down on the thumbnail. I just want to hammer that home a little bit tonight. I want to hammer it home so people understand, because I think that everybody I've spoken to, every credible journalist I've read over the last 2 weeks has basically come to the same conclusion. Ralf Rangnick had told the club that we need to buy a midfielder this January, and at this moment in time he hasn't got it. So whatever you think about Ralf Rangnick, whether you're pro Ollie, whether you're pro Rangnick, whether you're unsure, whether whatever you're, and we'll all have different angles, I just want it to be made clear that from absolutely everything I've been told and everything we're reading, Ralf Rangnick did want a midfielder and asked for a midfielder this summer, this January, and it's not been delivered. So just keep that in your hat, because it's very important in relation to what I'm about to say next. Martial will win Sevilla the league. I'd love it if he did, why wouldn't I? Most Manchester United players, when they leave, I want them to do well. I can't, maybe Tevez, definitely Tevez at Man City, Di Maria, there's a couple of others, but most of them, even the Darmians, you want them to go and do well. But yes, that reminds me to talk about Ander Herrera, but I'm onto a point here. So the reason I wanted to just start this topic I'm going to talk about letdown of Rangnick is to just talk about the importance of a holding midfielder for Manchester United over the next few months of the season. And the importance is, obviously, we need a holding midfielder. I don't think McTominay's a holding midfielder. I don't think Fred's holding midfielder, and I don't think Matic has got the legs to play as a holding midfielder. So we're playing a system now with one holding midfielder, two number 8s. And that holding midfielder is very important. If you had Fabinho or Rodri, you'd be laughing, okay? We don't even have a Romu. So we don't have a specialist CDM, let alone one of ability. So that's obviously the big thing that riles everybody. We don't actually have, we're Manchester United, supposedly one of the biggest clubs in the world, we actually don't have a specialist in one of the most important positions in the team. So that is why we need to buy a holding midfielder, of course. But there is a secondary conversation point here as to why we need one as well. The priority one is we need one, we haven't got one, we need one. Okay, the second point is options. And I don't hear people talking about this enough. It's options as well. Manchester United against, well, let's go to the most recent game, West Ham. 0-0. We need to win, really. A draw is better for West Ham than it is for us. We need to win that game. Ralph Rangnick has the ability to take off players and add to Ronaldo and Greenwood. He can add Rashford, Martial, Cavani. He's got 3 strikers on his bench of differing qualities and different standards, okay? On top of that, he's also got Lingard and Donny van der Beek who can play as attacking midfielders. He literally on that bench has got five options to go and attack. Admittedly, at the moment, we're a little bit short on defence. We only had Phil Jones, but we have got 2 full-backs when everyone's fit, and we've got 4 or 5 centre-backs. So we've got options there. At goalkeeper, he's even got 3 goalkeepers. He's got Henderson and Heaton, as well as David De Gea. In the midfield, we have got no options. In that holding midfield, we've got no options. And this is why we see Scott McTominay and Fred mostly playing 90 minutes of football, because we have got no option. We'll see Matic coming on for the last 20 minutes to calm the game down. But actually, if Scott McTominay pulls his hamstring after the first half an hour, who's going to come on and play at holding midfield? If Scott McTominay's having a bad game or Fred's having a bad game, who's going to come on and play holding midfield? It's not just the fact that we haven't got a specialist. We also don't have options when somebody's playing bad. And I think this has cost us a lot of points this season. Because, you know, I like Fred and McTominay. I think they're good squad players in their right position. But holding midfield for me is not their right position. And even in their right position, I think they should be on the bench. But where are the options in that midfield? Everyone talks about the Bagel FC and we need to bring a midfielder in. And we do. And that's the headline. We don't have a specialist. But also we don't have options anyway. There are no other options. Even if we know we've got players playing there that aren't good enough. But when they do turn in the terrible performance, we don't even have an option to change them. Or if they get injured. So this is why it's not just the headline of we need a specialist holding midfielder, because we do. We also need options in the midfield that we don't actually have. And I think it's a huge issue. Out of interest, if the Hotter meter was in action, what would your percentage be that we sign any midfielders, says Joshua Bellwater? I haven't given up hope. I've always said I can see 2 or 3 players leaving United in January and 1 coming in. That, to me, is logical. 2 in, 1 out, 1 in, 2 out, or 1 in, 3 out, maybe 1 in, 4 out. So I'm still working to that basis until...